Hello, get fit, and welcome to our final weekly challenge, Get Heart Healthy. I'm Brittany Ciordia with the Chamber of Commerce, and we are so happy to have Dr. Jennifer Tutor here with us to chat a little bit about what it means to be heart healthy. Dr. Tutor, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Jennifer Tutor. I'm a family physician, and I am honored to serve as the Deputy Chief Medical Officer at the County of San Diego.
Great. Well, we are so glad to have you on board with us, and we're excited to talk about what heart health looks like. February is American Heart Month, a time when we spotlight heart health. Can you share a little bit about what it means to be heart healthy and the importance of maintaining a strong heart?
Absolutely. So, the American Heart Association recommends that we are all aware of four key measures about ourselves. So, four numbers, more than your phone number and your social security and anything like that. We want to make sure we know what our total cholesterol is, what our blood pressure is, what our blood sugar is, and then what our body mass index, or you hear the phrase BMI. We want to make sure we know what our BMI is, which is a relation of our height and our weight. So those four numbers are really important because it helps our healthcare provider and us discuss those risks for developing heart disease and strokes that we have. So knowing those four numbers helps us understand our risk for developing heart disease and stroke. And then that means that we can actually do things to reduce that risk, to make us healthier. So heart disease and stroke is one of the four major diseases in San Diego that leads to more than 50% of the deaths in our county. Having a healthy heart also helps us be aware of our risk for heart attack and stroke to empower us to live that long, healthy, happy life that we all want here in sunny San Diego.
Absolutely. So it sounds like knowing your numbers is pretty important. Uh, can you tell us how we can check our numbers and what exactly we're looking for when we do? Is there a threshold of what numbers are good and what numbers we should look out for to talk to our doctors with?
Absolutely. So for the first number of knowing our blood pressure, that is something that we can do either at home with a blood pressure monitor. We can do it at our doctor's office. We can do it at the dentist office. I know my dentist, as soon as I get in that chair, she checks my blood pressure. So there are different ways that we can check our blood pressure. And we want to know what those numbers are because we really want those numbers to be less than 130 over 80. Anything 130 over 80 lets us know that we have high blood pressure. The other things we can check with our blood cholesterol and our blood sugar, we can check those with lab tests with our doctor. And the final thing, our BMI, we know our height, we get on a scale and weigh ourselves. And then there are different charts where you can plot your weight and your height, and it tells you what your BMI is. And there are categories for that. That is in the normal range, that is overweight, and then that is obese. And those are the ways that we can check those four numbers.
Great. Now, once we know those numbers, what are some things that we can do to help maintain our heart health?
It's really important to know our blood pressure numbers because high blood pressure is the most common underlying condition identified in San Diego with COVID associated deaths. So know your numbers, know your blood pressure, because you may not feel any symptoms of high blood pressure until your blood pressure has really progressed. So the earlier you can know what your numbers are, the earlier you can do things to improve your health. High blood pressure is often called the silent killer just for that reason. There aren't any obvious symptoms early on. Nearly half of Americans have high blood pressure and they don't even know they have it. The best way to find out, get your blood pressure checked. So through this Love Your Heart event, we are offering some in-person blood pressure screenings, and you can go to your health professional and get your blood pressure checked or your dentist. You can get a blood pressure cuff to take it home. And it's really important that once you know your numbers, especially that blood pressure, that there are all kinds of things you can do to improve it. That's why we want you to know your number, so you can change it and improve it.
Well, thank you, Dr. Tutor, for those reminders of where we can get it and how to get involved with Love Your Heart. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with Get Fit as we venture into this new weekly challenge and also round out our 30-day health and wellness challenge?
Absolutely. So we talked about knowing your blood pressure number and that you can do things to improve that blood pressure. So one thing is eating healthy. That'll help lower our blood pressure. We talk about eating the rainbow and fruits and vegetables of different colors. We want to make sure we're eating the right portion sizes. And we want to make sure that we're eating things low in sodium or low in salt. And usually we'll find that additional salt in processed foods and frozen foods. So make sure you read those labels and look and make sure that you are staying within those daily limits of sodium or of salt. The next thing is managing our stress. Well, that's really hard to do during this pandemic. This is a really long pandemic and it's affecting us in so many different ways. But we know increased stress does affect our blood pressure. So there are different things we can do. Some things might work for you now. You might find different things that work for you 6 months from now. I know for me, it's different when my kids are on vacation from school or during summer or when they've been studying from home. I know it's different when there are different things going on at work. But really recognizing our stress levels and having that toolbox ready to do things to help decrease our stress. One of the things I've learned this year is that there's the 4-7-8 method of breathing. A couple times a day, you breathe in for a count of 4, you hold it for 7, and you breathe out for a count of 8. And you do that a couple times, and it really helps release some of those natural stress reducing hormones. It helps you get a little centered. And if you can even do that breathing, that 4-7-8, as you're thinking of your happy place and what it would be like to be there, that really helps reduce our stress. It's something you can do as you're on the phone. Put it on hold and you're waiting for something. You can do as when you're at a traffic light. So breathe in for 4, hold it for 7, and breathe out for 8. All kinds of different ways we can manage our stress. We know that exercise is important. We know that limiting alcohol and not smoking is important as well. And so anything you can do to help yourself or help others around you stop smoking will really help decrease blood pressure. It's going to decrease risk of heart attack and stroke because it prevents our blood vessels from spasming or constricting, and it prevents that plaque from building up in our arteries. So 1 in 4 deaths from cardiovascular disease is associated to smoking. So anything we can do to help stop smoking is really important. And American Lung Association has lots of resources available to help us stop smoking. And then physical activity. You've worked a long day, you've been up at night with your kids, you're tired. I know first thing I want to do is, oh, can I just like sit down for a moment? But sometimes if I can nudge myself out of the house, even if I walk around the block, I feel a lot better afterwards. So it helps me rather than just have to nudge myself and walk by myself. If I can actually contact some friends or set a schedule, even if we're walking outside masked with the pandemic and we're walking our 6 feet away, it's really nice to help hold each other accountable. And it's
Right.
nice to connect with people.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for providing not just why we should be caring about our heart, but also how to do so. I'm curious. We've heard a lot about how COVID has affected our hearts, but how has it affected our ability to take care of our hearts?
Thanks so much for asking that question. During the COVID pandemic, we have seen that people's blood pressure control has actually decreased. So that means that people who had high blood pressure and their numbers looked great on their medicines, Now, during the pandemic, those numbers aren't looking so great. And we understand that, right? It's hard for people to get in to see their healthcare providers. They may have virtual visits. It may be a time of COVID spikes and they want to be protected at home. Very understandable. It also can be that people didn't go out and to get their medications. They didn't get their refills, things like that. And I know, and I've heard, kind of like the freshman 15, there's that COVID-19 pounds. I'm guilty of that too. So now's really the time to focus on ourselves, to take care of ourselves, to know our numbers, make sure we're connecting with our primary physicians, make sure that we are taking our medications, and really start getting our health back.
Amazing. And I hope that we can all take what we've learned in this conversation and apply it both to get fit and beyond. A great way to do that is to participate in Love Your Heart Week next week. Can you tell us a little bit more about how to get involved with that?
Well, first of all, don't forget to visit loveyourheartsd.org. That's where all the information is. So we've got virtual home events. We've got things that are in person at certain sites. So if you have your favorite site where you've always gotten your blood pressure checked, that may be open. And we have a community event that is open for everyone. It's in El Cajon. It's at the Islamic Center of San Diego. And it's open for everyone, especially our refugee communities. That is on Saturday, February 12th. So visit loveyourheartsd.org, participate in virtual events, go in person, get your blood pressure checked at that doctor's visit that you've been putting off. But please take care of yourself, engage, and take a moment to know your numbers. And don't forget, get vaccinated.
Well, thank you, Dr. Tutor. These sound like very actionable steps that we can all take, and we look forward to loving our heart this month.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be with you. Take good care.
Thank you.